You're sitting in a doctor's office. They hand you a card. It says, "O positive." You glance at it, shrug, and put it in your wallet. But that little letter and that little plus sign, they are not random. They are a message written in a language 7 million years old. A message from a version of human that no longer exists. A message from a world where your ancestors were not the only humans on Earth. And if you have O plus blood, your DNA is carrying something most people have no idea about. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Your blood type is not a modern invention. It's not something your body just decided to do. It's a fossil, a genetic fossil, buried inside every single one of your cells. And here's the strangest part. The genetic change that created the O blood type didn't happen in modern humans. It happened before modern humans even existed. In 2008, a team of researchers led by paleogeneticists analyzed 2 male Neanderthals from the El Sidrón site in Spain. These individuals lived roughly 49,000 years ago. Their remains were retrieved under controlled conditions and appeared to be almost completely free of modern human DNA contamination. That's rare. That's important. The researchers found something extraordinary. Both Neanderthal individuals carried a human-specific diagnostic deletion for the O blood group. Not a proto-O, not something close to O, the exact same genetic deletion that gives you type O blood today. The conclusion was unambiguous. The genetic change responsible for the O blood group in humans predates the human-Neanderthal divergence. Think about what that means. You and a Neanderthal shared a common ancestor. That ancestor lived roughly 500,000 to 800,000 years ago. And before that split even happened, before there were humans and Neanderthals as separate populations, the O blood type was already there. The O allele is that old. But here's where it gets even stranger. For decades, scientists assumed Neanderthals were all type O. Chimpanzees are all type A. Gorillas are all type B. It seemed logical that our ancient cousins would have been simpler, more uniform. They were wrong. A 2021 study led by researchers from CNRS, Aix-Marseille University, and the French blood establishment examined the genomes of 3 Neanderthal females and 1 Denisovan female. These individuals lived between 100,000 and 40,000 years ago. The researchers demonstrated that these ancient hominins already displayed the full range of ABO variability observed in modern humans. Full range. A, B, AB, and O. The ancient world was not simple. It was complex. It was diverse. And your blood type is a direct inheritance from that world. Now let's talk about that plus sign. The Rh factor. The positive or negative after your blood type. You probably know it matters for blood transfusions and pregnancy. But do you know where it came from? Here's the thing. Neanderthals harbored a unique Rh allele that is absent in most modern humans. Absent. Except in 2 places. 1 Aboriginal Australian and 1 Papuan. Think about that. A Rh variant that was carried by Neanderthals, extinct for 40,000 years, still survives in a handful of individuals in Oceania. Those individuals are walking around today with a blood factor that hasn't been seen in the rest of the world for millennia. But you have O plus blood. That plus sign is actually the most common Rh type on Earth. About 38% of people worldwide have O positive blood. In North America, it's 37-40%. In Europe, 38-42%. In Asia, 35-39%. O plus is the most common blood type on the planet. Why? Because being O plus isn't just random. It was selected for. It was useful. And that usefulness? It came with a cost. People with type O blood are more likely to have severe cholera infections. But they are also more resistant to severe malaria. Here's the mechanism. When the malaria parasite infects red blood cells, those infected cells tend to clump together with uninfected cells, forming structures called rosettes. These rosettes block small blood vessels and damage organs. Type O red blood cells, they are less likely to form these rosettes. That's it. That's the secret. O blood lacks the A and B antigens on the surface of red blood cells. Without those antigens, the malaria parasite has a harder time causing the clumping that leads to severe. Blood group O has been associated with protection against severe malaria and death. And this protection is so powerful that malaria has exerted evolutionary pressure on the ABO blood group system for thousands of generations. In malaria endemic regions, blood group O is found more frequently. The disease shaped your blood. But wait, if O blood is so useful against malaria, why isn't everyone type O? Because blood types are trade-offs. A and B blood types offer protection against other pathogens. Different diseases, different pressures, different solutions. The ABO blood group system is one of the oldest genetic defense systems in primates. It evolved to carry strengths and weaknesses against particular pathogens. And O blood? The most common blood type worldwide. The one that carries the ancient Neanderthal deletion. The one that protects against malaria, but leaves you vulnerable to cholera? That's not an accident. That's evolution in action. Now let's zoom out. Between 70,000 and 45,000 years ago, modern humans migrated out of Africa. As they expanded into Eurasia, new genetic variants determining blood groups emerged and entrenched themselves in these roving populations. Blood types have been a really strong target of positive selection throughout our history, says Joshua Akey, a population geneticist at Princeton University. They reflect the diseases ancient people encountered. And some of those variants? They came from Neanderthals. In 2020, researchers Fernando Villania, Emilia Huerta Sanchez, and P. Keolu Fox analyzed ABO genetic variation in 3 Neanderthal and 1 Denisovan individual. They found that the Siberian Neanderthals, Altai and Shagarskaya, were both homozygous for a derived Neanderthal variant of the O allele. The European Neanderthal, Vindija, was a heterozygote for 2 derived Neanderthal variants. The Denisovan individual was homozygous for an ancestral variant of the O allele. But here's the kicker. The derived O allele variant found in the Altai Neanderthal can be found at low frequencies in modern European and Southeast Asian individuals. And the derived O allele variant found in the Vindija Neanderthal is also found at very low frequency in East Asian individuals. These alleles survived. They were passed down through interbreeding. Some of your O+ DNA came from a Neanderthal. Let that sink in. When your ancestors encountered Neanderthals, and they did, repeatedly, over thousands of years, they didn't just fight or trade or ignore each other. They mated. They had children. And those children carried both sets of genes. Some of those genes were blood type genes. The O allele in your blood might be the exact same O allele that flowed through the veins of a Neanderthal woman 60,000 years ago in what is now Siberia. And here's the strangest part of all. A 2025 study in Scientific Reports examined the blood group genetic diversity of 22 Homo sapiens and 14 Neanderthals from Eurasia, living between 120,000 and 20,000 years ago. They found that blood group allele diversity in Neanderthals remained unchanged during their last 80,000 years of existence. 80,000 years. While Neanderthal blood stayed stable, modern humans were evolving new blood types as they spread across the globe. New variants emerged. New defenses against new diseases. New trade-offs. But the O allele? That ancient deletion that predates the human-Neanderthal split? That stayed. And today, 38% of the human population carries it. You carry it. The next time you see that little card from the doctor's office, O positive, don't shrug and put it in your wallet. That's not just a blood type. That's a genetic fossil. A message from a world where your ancestors were not alone. A message from a time when multiple species of humans walked the earth. A message written in the language of survival itself. Your blood remembers what your history books forgot. And somewhere, deep in the code of every single red blood cell in your body, there is a Neanderthal, a Denisovan, and an ancient common ancestor, all of them looking back at you. O positive. The most common blood type on Earth, and one of the oldest secrets still hiding in your veins.